Okay, so hey everyone, it is Wednesday, January 23rd, and I thought it'd be time to just have another sit-down talk, shoot the breeze, tell a few stories. Okay, so, I thought that I was all done with my military stories since, there's not a whole lot for me to really tell, but actually, if I think back, there are a few things to tell. Most of the good stuff happened either when I was in basic training or tech school. And all of that fits into exactly 1 year. After that, it's just you had to have been there kind of things or nothing really to tell. So, this is a story that takes place during tech school. Tech school is technical training school. After you finish basic training, they ship you off to tech school where you learn the very bare bones basics of your job. And after that, then they ship you off to your first permanent duty station. Mine, of course, was Beale, as I mentioned in the last episode. But I was at tech school, and I was at tech school for almost a year. At this time, the Air Force basic training was 6.5 weeks long. Now it is 8 weeks, 2 months. And I was in tech school for probably about, I'm going to say 9.5 months, maybe 10, just because there was a long waiting list. And in the Intel school, like I said, a long waiting list, meaning when you get to the school, you're not guaranteed to get into school. There is a very long queue for you to have to wait through to actually get into a class. There needs to be empty spots for you to get in. And for you to get in, first you have to go through a background check done by the FBI. So the FBI needs to do your background check and clear you for obtaining classified information. There's this one guy who was in tech school who had to go through re-enlistment because he was waiting for so long, because I think his dad was from Iraq. So it was taking years for the FBI to do this guy's background check. And then when he finally did start school, he ended up flunking out in block 3. Anyways, I was in tech school for a very long time, waiting to get into a class. Then I got into a class. Then personal stuff happened, and I failed out of block 5, with another guy. And then we restarted the classes at the same time, went through, graduated, and left. But while I was there, they don't let you just sit around and do nothing, really. They put you to work. And this entry right here, this vlog, is about getting paid to do nothing. And I personally know what it's like to get paid to do nothing. And let me tell you, it is not as fun as you might think it is. Now, when people say that, oh, I'd like to get paid to do nothing, they're like, oh, I'd like to get paid to do a job I really enjoy. Like working at Games Workshop or Privateer Press or Weird Miniatures, I think it is, that makes Malifaux, or whatever, Or working at a video game company, or they get paid to review books or review movies or whatever. That's something. I got paid to literally do nothing. I could literally do nothing on this job. Here's the deal. When there's a building that has classified information in it, it's called a SCIF. That's one of the places I worked on. SCIF, S-C-I-F, Secured Compartmentalized SCIF, Secured Compartmentalized Information Facility. That's what it is. Jeez. Anyways, to get into this building, you need to have the proper clearance. Sometimes people need to get into the building who don't have clearance, and these are typically cleaning personnel. So one of the jobs that they assign these people waiting to get into class to do is escort duty, where you follow these cleaning people around just to make sure they don't try to sneak away and get into classified information. So you're doing nothing but following these cleaning people. You're not cleaning yourself. You're not cleaning at all. You're just following these people, watching them clean. Now this is a somewhat interesting job because, you know, you get to talk to some people. I mean, there's people in, you know, a lot of these buildings, you know, walking around the hallways, and you get to, like, you know, chat with them, shoot the breeze. I mean, you're at a certain area for like 5 minutes while the person's cleaning it, and then you got to move on. But there's always a big change of scenery, and there is typically people to talk to. So escort duty for cleaning personnel is more or less okay. There is another escort duty that some of us were assigned to, and this was escorts for construction personnel. One of the skiffs, which was an officer skiff, needed to have some construction done on it. So they brought in, of course, outside contractors, and we had to escort them around. And that essentially was us standing there watching them work. We didn't walk around, really. They were in like one room for 8 hours. I mean, and the guy that was in charge of us didn't let us sit down, so we had to stand there for 8 hours every day doing nothing but watching these people work. We couldn't read, there was no music to listen to, and since it's a skiff, we can't bring in cell phones or like Game Boys or whatever. There was literally nothing we could do but stand there and watch these people work. I was one of those guys, so I know what it's like to stand there and get paid to literally do nothing, and it is a mind-numbingly boring job. This went on for months and months. So it is not a fun job. One of the places that we got to go in just once was a separate skiff. What they were doing in this one is they were tearing the ceiling tiles out and replacing the ceiling. So there were 3 of us there, plus the contractor who was working. And we were really tired of this guy who was in charge of us, really tired. He didn't follow us to this skiff. And so, you know, and like the taskmasters, the snitches, they weren't there either. So we got to actually relax. We sat down, we laid down on the floor. Oh, it was fun. It was only for one day, but it was great fun. One of the things that we did while we were there is we had a lightsaber battle. Yeah. When you take the ceiling tiles that's in some of those buildings, they're held up by scaffolding. They're just these thin metal bars that are hanging from the actual ceiling, and they hold the ceiling tiles in place. So the ceiling, you know, seems a lot closer than where the actual ceiling is. So what happened is they had torn down some of this ceiling scaffolding, and us 3 guys, you know, we're intel, so we're a bunch of geeks. So we pick up these things and we start swinging them around, and someone, I forget who, makes a lightsaber sound. They're like vroom, vroom, vroom. And that's when the light came on our head. Ding, 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 ding. We can have a lightsaber battle. I mean, these were swords. We could fight with these things. So that's what happened. It was a 3-way battle. Myself and 2 other guys, and there was no sides. It was one man. It was every man for himself. So we were swinging these like ceiling scaffolding bars around, going vroom, 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 vroom. And like, you know, blocking hits and like smacking each other in the arms and the chest and the head if we can. I got smacked in the hand that was holding like my lightsaber, and I was like, ah, dang, that hurts. And then I just went back, vroom, vroom, vroom. A few minutes later, I realized that my grip on my lightsaber isn't exactly secure. It's getting kind of slippery. So I'm like, what the heck? I look down, and there's just blood just all over the place. I'm like, holy crap, I'm freaking bleeding. So I'm like, hold on. Time out, guys, time out. I gotta go. So I go off, and I find this drinking fountain. I mean, there's like, I can't find a bathroom in this place. It's just a long hallway of unmarked doors. So I'm sitting there holding my hand under the drinking fountain, washing off all this blood from my hand, and this door opens up, and this guy comes out, and he sees me washing blood off of my hand. He's like, holy crap, there's someone out here bleeding. So they get someone out, and he has, they grab the first aid kit, and they're like, let me look at it. And they're like, it doesn't look too bad. There's just a piece of skin hanging off. Just push it back in. We'll put a Band-Aid on it, and I think you should be okay. But if not, go to the clinic. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I push that piece of skin back down. They put on a Band-Aid, and then I go back to lightsaber fighting. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Well, a day or two later, I'm like, okay, it's time to take the Band-Aid off. I took the Band-Aid off, and there's this mark there. I'm like, it'll heal up. See if we can get this to focus. Right there. Right there. You see that little mark right here? That's the scar from my lightsaber battle. I will carry that mark for the rest of my life. How much, you have to be a pretty big nerd to have a scar from a lightsaber battle. I can say that I have a scar that I received during a lightsaber battle. That is just craziness. But anyways, that's one of my military stories. That's my story of how I got my lightsaber battle scar. And how mind-numbingly boring it is to get paid to literally sit around and do nothing. Alright, so there are other military stories, and I will save them for another time. Let's see what else I can talk about. I was thinking maybe Games Workshop. I know that this is a very tired subject, but, why not? Why not, Alright, so Games Workshop. Let's talk about their prices. Like I said, this is a tired, old subject. But the prices for Games Workshop stuff is pretty high. I mean, I was on one of the live shows in the chat for Mini Wargaming last night, and someone was talking about how expensive it is to play Games Workshop stuff. Compared to how much it cost before. I mean, I think it was Jawa Balls who was running this live show, and he said it's just so expensive now, it's insane. I mean, like a box of 10 Marines, a tactical squad, used to cost like $20, and now it's about $40. The price has doubled from the time that he started playing. That is absolutely insane. I mean, that's just 10 guys. That's one squad. And to, the minimum price, the minimum to run a game for a force organization is 2 full squads and an HQ. I don't know if they have to be full squads, but anyways, you have, let's say you have to have, a bare minimum of 2 5-man squads and an HQ. And let's say that you're not doing Assault on Black Reach or Dark Vengeance or anything like that. Let's say that you actually got to go out and buy the stuff all separately. Alright? And let's just go with Space Marines, since that's what I'm most familiar with. So you buy a box of troops, a tactical squad. That's 10 guys, $40 now. And you decide to split them in half. So you have 2 5-man squads. And then you go out and you buy the generic captain, and that will be, I think it's $25 now. And seriously, it is one guy for $25. That's nuts. And so you're now in what, $65 plus tax. Let's say it's about $68, just to be safe. $68 to play a very basic game. What are you going to do with 10 guys and 1 HQ? You're going to do nothing. You're going to get stomped into the ground. So, practically speaking, you're going to need to get 2 tactical squads. So that's $80 right there. Plus the $25 for the commander, that is going to be $105. That's nuts. Just to begin playing. Just to begin playing. So, one of the other conversations came up, and it was, oh, the big thing right now is flyers. And I was putting in the chat, I never have to worry about flyers. Everyone here that I game with is way too poor to be able to afford flyers. So I know that like in the competition circuit, competitive play, flyers are a major thing to have to worry about. That's something I never really have to worry about. You know, I was talking to some of my friends and they're like, oh, some people have flyers. Like Paul has a flyer, and I'm like, yeah, Paul has a DACA jet. He has one DACA jet. That's it. Who else has a flyer? I know that John has a Storm Talon that was bought for him for the Dark Angels army that he's starting up. Now, of course, with this new this new codex, we know that Dark Angels can't use the Storm Talon. Storm Talon is for vanilla Space Marines only. He would have to get the Flying Church to be able to use legally. I would say that the amount that I have to worry about flyers is very minimal, just very minimal. But I know other people, they really have to worry about this stuff because, you know, flyers is the big thing. And a flyer is going to cost, what, 60 bucks? 60 bucks. And, you know, Games Workshop is going to want you to buy like at least 2 of them. So that's 120 bucks they're making off someone for like just for a few flyers. Now, I made a video before about it's down there. That was the Voltron set for Monster Apocalypse. There are lots of games out there that are an alternative to Games Workshop. There's War Machine. Of course, I reviewed these a little while ago. There's Dark Potential. Dark Potential is a game that is just getting started right now. Its rules are in beta, so if you want to get in for relatively cheap and you want to be part of the process of making a game, get into Dark Potential. I mean, seriously. All you would need to do really for like a fair-sized force is buy 2 of those starter sets. And those starter sets are, I think like, I think like $40, $50 right now. And so, you know, for about between 80 to 100 bucks, you have an army. I'm not talking like just, you know, 2 troops choices. You have an army. You have enough to play a full game. So, you know, that is a viable option. And like people keep saying, oh, I want to be able to make my own war game. Well, you don't exactly have the money, but you can be part of the gaming process. You can be part of the building process. Games Workshop, they're always like, don't submit stuff to us. We don't want it. We don't need it. They have people on staff to write crap for them. Privateer Press is starting to get to that point where they say, you know, if you have an idea, you know, go ahead and contact us, but don't send us fiction. Don't send us ideas for new warcasters. We don't need it. But Dark Potential, made by Mini Wargaming, you know, they need some help. They are looking for your input. You know, if you suggest something, it could very well be made into a rule. And you can just go to their website, go into their forums. I think there's a section for people's fiction for Dark Potential. You could get your story published in the eventual official codex for Dark Potential. I mean, imagine that. Here's the story, this short story, and your name is going to be in that book. Or, you know, if you're a really good artist, you can draw something and, you know, submit it, and it could be used. I mean, imagine that. You would be part of the process. Games Workshop, in the beginning, they used to do that. I mean, the Blood Angels character, Captain Tycho, he came about because there was an Apocalypse game being played long ago, and this guy was using Blood Angels, and he had this generic captain who unfortunately died during the battle. And so at the end, the Games Workshop people came up to this guy and said, "Hey, you know, that was a really good game that you played. Your captain really held out. He took a lot of orcs with him, you know, when he went down. Do you have like do you have like a name for this guy, a backstory?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, this guy's name is Captain Tycho, and he's a veteran of blah 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 blah." Captain Tycho is now an official Blood Angels character. He's in the Codex. He has his own miniature. He's in Foncast now. How would you like to be just like that guy? So, I'm going to leave you with that thought. Go ahead, go to miniwargaming.com and go to the forums. It's free to make an account. You can start posting your fiction or your pictures or just get involved, and you can be part of the building process for a brand new miniature war game. That's all I have for you this time. I am signing out.